Nothing quite like the sweet joys of trying to get your boat reloaded at the launch ramp.
Boneheaded boaters of the week.
As boaters, we're all bound to have struggles at some point in time, just like some of the people we're about to see in this week's episode of Boating News of the Week. Our first incident to make the boating news this week is going to be a farm truck. Yes, I know what you're thinking already. How in the world does a farm truck make the boating news? Well, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but there's a television show on Discovery Channel called Street Outlaws, and one of the featured vehicles in this television show is an old farm truck that they use to drag race down the streets in Oklahoma. Well, what made the boating news this week is the fact that this truck was spotted not drag racing on the land, but actually drag racing out on the water. Apparently, this crew decided to slap some pontoons on it, and this was the end result. This truck is typically one of the sleepers on that show, as the truck itself doesn't look like much at first glimpse, and it's kind of the same thing out here in the water as it's going by with these flashy boats. At first thought, you're going to think, what in the world is this thing? And then all of a sudden it's out there dragging tail across the lake. The owner of this vessel does have a YouTube channel called Farm Truckin' Asian. They did post a video over there as well where they actually took the boat over to their local fire department where fans could go catch a glimpse of it. Our next incident to make the boating news this week is going to take us up to Clinton, Connecticut.
Can't get that close to the boat, so you're gonna have to swim to me, okay?
Where just a few weeks back, 3 local teens were out fishing on their vessel when all of a sudden a distress call came over the radio that a vessel was taking on water. The 3 teens got on the radio and tried to make contact with the distressed vessel, only to realize the distressed vessel was actually an eye shot of them, and they made their way over to try and lend assistance. But as soon as they arrived at the vessel, things went from bad to worse, as the vessel that was taking on water all of a sudden capsized and all 5 occupants on board the vessel were now in the water. The 3 teens at this point began to do everything they possibly could do to get the occupants out of the water and on board their vessel.
We need more boats, please. We need more boats. 3 people still in the water, 2 on our vessel.
Fortunately, the vessel that was in distress had taken the right actions, and all 5 people who were in the water did have life vests on. The 3 teens were able to pull 4 people on board their vessel before another vessel arrived, saving the 5th.
I can confirm there is no one else in the water.
Our next incident to make the boating news this week is going to take us up to Massachusetts, where these images here are the aftermath after 5 people had to be rescued off the coast of Block Island after their vessel reportedly collided with a whale. Apparently, there was a feeding frenzy going on off the coast of Block Island that involved multiple whales and dolphins. These images here come from the YouTuber 3D Sailor, also known as Dan Donnell, who happened to hear about the feeding frenzy going on, so him and his girlfriend headed out on their boat during this time. And it just so happened they happened to be out on the water when this particular vessel right here got head-butted by a whale, actually knocking one of the occupants off the boat and into the water. You can see the damage there. They wound up stuffing the hole with plastic bags to try and slow down the intake of water to the vessel. As you can see, the feeding frenzy was a known event as there are multiple vessels in the area. The Coast Guard did provide assistance and wound up providing the vessel with a high-powered pump to help pump water out and keep the boat afloat during the incident. Unfortunately, a tow vessel was in the area to assist with towing the boat in. Fortunately, no injuries were reported during the event, and the boat was towed safely back into port. Our next incident to make the boating news this week is going to take us over to Hong Kong, where just a few weeks back, a fire broke out at the Aberdeen South Typhoon Shelter around 2:30 a.m. The fires began in a yacht and quickly spread from boat to boat, actually sinking about 20 vessels. A few dozen other vessels actually took damage as well, and about 45 people were evacuated from the marina. 11 fireboats and 8 water jets were used to combat the flames, and it took crews approximately 6 hours to get the flames under control and the fire extinguished. As a result of the fire, which is one of the city's worst blazes ever involving boats, politicians are calling for officials to address structural problems that have affected the marinas and typhoon shelters in Hong Kong for a long time, and currently they're going through plans to see what can be done to try and prevent this kind of incident in the future. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode of Boating News of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening out on your waterways, be sure to hit me up on Facebook or Instagram and let me know, and you might see your stories over here. Just like 3D Sailor, Dan Donnell, Hayden Wilderbrandt 3, Lachlan Tolf, Mike Johnson, and InstaWizard did this week. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button here. If not, we're coming to steal your drain plug.